Hi YouTubers and hello Airsoft players alike. Today's going to be more of a conversational episode on the Jesse Hill Airsoft Corner. I'm going to clear up some little misconceptions and stuff like that, but it's going to be a two-part episode. The first episode is going to be things I like about Airsoft, and the second will be things I don't like about Airsoft. That being said, I'm going to talk about some misconceptions. As you guys know, there's a war going on between Airsofters and paintballers alike, when there really necessarily shouldn't be. I played both Airsoft, and my family and a couple of my family members played paintball professionally on the national circuit. Now I can say that I'm kind of the ambassador for Airsoft in the family because my brothers are very much older than I am, and they grew up with paintball when Airsoft really was more of an idea a long time ago. So that being said, Airsoft is a lot more in its infantile stages considering how old paintball's been around. And even my father was like, whatever, we played with, BB guns, and so, no thank you. There's a safety issue with that. But, I'm going to clear up a couple misconceptions. First off being that paintball hurts a lot worse than Airsoft. This is a common misconception. Now, you also have to take in mass and velocity and airspeed velocity as well. Now, a pellet is much smaller, and you're going to have something like this. Versus a large paintball, which is about the size of about a nickel or a dime, depending on how large they are. Now, depending on what you shoot, paintballs usually come in just a few different types, and they're all one and the same. They have a harder resin-style shell. I'm not saying that they are made of resin, but they feel like a soft resin-type shell with a fluid inside that is non-toxic and will leave a mark on you. That being said, airsoft pellets will make a large clank noise or smack noise when they hit vests or anything like that. That being said, these are one of the heaviest you can buy, the .30 grams. This bag is very heavy considering. The misconception is that paintball hurts a lot worse, where most paintball guns only shoot to about 350 FPS. That being said, many airsoft guns will go up to, what I've heard from, is 800 on its own. I've heard of people ramping up to about 1,000 FPS, but that's really dangerous, and it's not safe. So I'm going to chastise anybody who is doing that, in fact. So I wouldn't do that necessarily. It's not safe, it's not okay, and you could really hurt somebody. So, that being said, the paintball is a much larger mass. It's going to hit you, and it's going to leave a larger welt. That being said, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hurt any more or any less. I played paintball quite a bit. A lot of my family members, of course, play professionally, so I think I know a little bit about the paintball community. Though I haven't played it in a little while, considering that paintball gets very expensive. That because of the amount of gas you have to buy, and the equipment, and the guns can be, what I would think is overpriced if you want to buy a really good custom weapon for playing that game. They are both, of course, action sports, which means they're going to be a combat-style simulator. So the guns are going to be slightly different. I found that the paintball guns can be slightly bulbous, and the tank can get in the way. Now, I know there's a lot of pump actions, which I thought were totally cool, but I couldn't afford them because their price can be very high. That being said, the tank can be a little cumbersome, and I found that they are not the most conservative guns on firing. That being said, if you were to get shot with a pellet, on the other hand, it will leave a welt the size of a wasp sting or a bee sting. Now, I've seen some really bad ones where it actually hurt the finger and actually caused it to swell up like a balloon. So that being said, really, when it comes down to it, airsoft and paintball hurt just pretty much the same depending on what you're getting hit with. You really can't compare the two because it's kind of apples and oranges. You have different firing styles, different styles of gun versus a different style of gun completely. That being said, they are going to hurt just about the same. One will feel like it hit you like a ton of bricks, and the other one will feel like it actually went in, which I have damage to my, this ear right here from an airsoft gun. It hit me in the ear and it collapsed the cartilage. So I can tell you that these airsoft, if it's shot within close range or shot with a really powerful one, can actually go inside of you like a bullet, whereas paintball couldn't possibly do that. So there are dangers with the two of them, but that being said, they both hurt just about the same. I've been around the block on these games, so it's apples and oranges. If you grew up with paintball, you're gonna like paintball. If you grew up with airsoft or started playing airsoft, you're gonna like airsoft. That being said, between the two of them, I would pick airsoft because of the realism. If you are a prepper or a trainer or you want to teach some people gun safety, airsoft is a very fun and very inexpensive way of training people about gun safety or about firearms, since the guns are 1-to-1 scale to the actual guns. If you want to play things like World War II reenactments, or even Civil War, they have some cowboy and west guns. You can have these guns, and you can actually fire them without worrying about people getting really hurt from the flash of the powder, which can get very expensive, or playing paintball when it's not very realistic considering. That being said, they make all kinds of airsoft guns, tons of different styles. While paintball is starting to realize that they can make different styles of guns, again, you have to worry about the paintballs themselves being very heavy and very expensive and very in the way. You can't just load a couple pellets. You can't just load a couple into a magazine like an airsoft gun. That being said, they do make a lot of M1 Garands, M1 carbines, Thompsons, PPSH, Sten gun, Mauser C1896, Mauser K98K. I mean, you name it. Airsoft has made an airsoft gun for it. And they still are making airsoft guns right now. I mean, I've even heard of some exotic guns, like a lot of the early MP German submachine guns during World War I. And, I mean, they're making all the, really powerful big guns. I mean, you've even heard of guns like, it's not necessarily World War II Circa, but a minigun. So I do like airsoft because it has that variety, because it can go toe-to-toe with paintball. Paintballs can't go very far, and sometimes these can't either. With that being said, if you ramp up the FPS, these can go a heck of a lot further. So I would say that paintball has its place. It's a fun little game if you're going to play Olympic, what I would call Olympic style, where you play speedball, which is actually very fun. That being said, this would be for more combat training, combat sim. This would be more 1-to-1, and this would make a lot more sense. That being said, there's a lot for airsoft going for it, whereas you can teach kids about the real truths about gun safety in a non-dangerous, in a very 1-to-1 scale environment, where you can actually teach them that, yes, this is a firearm, but it is a toy, but the real one, it looks just like this, it feels just like this, it just functions a little more differently. That being said, it's a very good training tool. Also, it's a very good training tool for combat sim in urban and, in woods or whatever BU or wherever you're at. It'd be a very good environmental training gun because it is 1-to-1 scale. You are going to feel the weight of the gun. You're going to have several magazines. You're going to have that situation where it's going to be more realistic. It's going to be more fun. And for you reenactors and stuff like that, they are very good for that sort of thing. Like I said, there's a lot of World War II reenactors that I'm friends with that love airsoft. One of their selling points on airsoft is the fact that they have guns that look like the real deal without having to spend several $1,000s on the real deal. That being said, the game is just very fun. The airsoft community can be really nice. Along with paintball, you can have the guys that are just there to have fun. They're there to play a game, and they know that it's a game. They don't take themselves too seriously. And, it's a good thing to have, as well as the fact that there's a lot of indoor areas where they do build a lot of hazards and a lot of buildings and stuff like that. So there's a lot of good courses as well for airsoft. And the prices, depending on what you're buying, can be very reasonable, considering. Another thing is you can buy several thousand rounds. I believe this one comes with about 3,300 rounds. If you were to buy, let's say, paintball or anything of that sort, 3,300 rounds would be like $190. It would be insanely expensive. Whereas this only cost me about $15. So, on the conservation and the price range of airsoft guns in the airsoft community, airsoft definitely wins as far as being less expensive and just as fun or more fun if you are an actual combat sim player that likes the realism. So I would say that, airsoft would take the cake for that as well. So overall, I would say that airsoft it's better simply because They do shoot the same, they do hit the same, and in some cases airsoft guns shoot a lot hotter. The customization is a lot more relative in the airsoft community than it is in the paintball community. To top it off, the guns, depending on what you buy, are a lot more reasonably priced. That being said, you can buy a lot more trigger housings depending on what you're playing with, different barrels, all sorts of things. That paintball, don't get me wrong, does, but at a more reasonable cost. The airsoft pellets are a lot more cheap, and you don't really lose a lot of sleep shooting 3,000 rounds in one day because it's not as expensive or nowhere near as expensive as its counterpart. It's very good for reenactments or any combat sim. You can also teach young children about gun safety on a gun that is relatively, for the most part, non-lethal. So you can teach a child about a rifle without actually letting them handle the real deal before they're ready. So that's the things I like about airsoft, and that's a couple of misconceptions that I've come up with. So please like and subscribe. You guys have a nice day. Remember to play it safe.